What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We're going to be taking a look at Enshrouded here on the Legion Go. We'll take a look at 1610, 800p, 1200p, and some different settings here and what kind of performance we're really just getting in the beginning areas of the game. So let's go ahead and jump into it here. Now, the first thing is the settings. Now, we're going to jump into this thing starting off with 1200p and balanced for the preset, but we'll have to pretty quickly change that as we get into things, as you'll see here. But I figured we'll just jump in as a baseline and see how this does. So jumping into the game also, we're going to go into private. You could certainly experience different performance on some of the other servers, playing with more people, and we'll talk more about that as we get into it. But jumping in here at 20 watts, as I expected and have played around with this, we're getting about 20 FPS on the balanced preset, 4 gigs of VRAM, 1200p, and 20 watts here. Now, we can go ahead and up this to 25 watts if we want to, and we won't really get any more performance. Throughout this game at 20 or 25, even 30, it's very little difference in most areas of the game. It's when you go under 20, you try to do 15, 18, it really starts to fall apart and give you more trouble. So that's just something to note here. Now going into 800p with this balanced preset, we do gain a little bit there as far as our FPS 7, 8 FPS over the 20 we were getting. But really what we got to do is knock things down. We're going to go max performance for the quality preset here, still to 1200p, and then the only other thing we'll do is go down here and change one setting from that, and that's small foliage. We'll turn that to performance just to kind of help the game not look so bad and bland, and it doesn't hurt the performance too much as we get into things. So there we are, 1200p max performance preset with foliage performance as we get into things here, which also leaves you with FSR 2 on performance, which I know isn't great for the image quality, but 1200p is pretty tough for this game. We're always GPU bound no matter what here that we do, so 1200p just probably isn't going to be that viable. 800p, however, is pretty good with those same settings at 20 or 25 watts, and we can usually maintain over the 30 FPS. Now the thing is, as I was saying, though, this is the beginning areas of the game. I've only spent about 4 hours or so tinkering around in here, and later on when we get into different areas, fights, more people, if you're co-oping and stuff, it could affect things. Now with 800p though, you could adjust your FSR to balanced or quality to help that image quality a little bit. You'll get a little bit of loss in your FPS and may want to go back to performance later on in other areas of the game. But with 800p here and these lower settings, it does give you that ability with the overhead to kind of do that. But again, always being GPU bound here, there's only so much we can really do. The lower the resolution, the better, but there's just going to be a point where we really can't do much better. Now, down here in the shrouded areas, they tend to do pretty good. I think that's because the draw distance is probably a good bit less, and we have the fog stuff turned down and all that, so it tends to help the FPS a little bit more when you're in these areas versus when you're more out in the open and all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of to be expected as well. And this has all been at 25 watts in the 800p. So what I'm going to do here is we'll take a little rundown here and we'll knock things down to 20 watts. And like I said, going between 20 and 25, maybe there'll be more difference later in the game, but around the areas I've been testing for the few hours here anyway, there hasn't been a huge difference. The system does pretty good with 20, 25, or 30. Again, it's when you get down to that 15, 18 range that it does start to fall apart and you have more trouble. So I definitely recommend staying 20 or up, staying with this max performance preset, up your foliage to performance, and then mess with FSR as you need to, and for your own personal preference as you go along and play the game. But yeah, pretty much that's the performance we're looking at so far on the Legion Go for Enshrouded. It's playable, at least in these areas of the game. We'll see how it does as we get farther into it. If you guys are playing on the Legion Go or the Ally or any handheld really, let us know in the comments and let us know what kind of performance you're getting and if there's any settings you would recommend for everybody. All right, guys, thanks a lot for coming and check out the video. As always, we really appreciate it, and we'll see you in the next one.